It's also known, I'm sure, as you all agree, as the vanguard of interactive horror theater. I think you know and you love it. It's a little world called Delusion. And I'd love to talk to John Braver, everybody, the creator of Delusion. So, John, for anyone who hasn't experienced Delusion, can you just kind of describe the concept?
Yes, how many people have been to Delusion? Okay, that was loud, that's good. And there were a lot of people that haven't, so for all of you, I kind of want to give a quick explanation. It's basically the most cinematic experience you can have in the live setting. So I come from the film world, we kind of brought that into the live world. And to give you a bit of a taste of that, some of the characters and the stories, just want to throw up a little video here for you guys to enjoy, so check it out.
Delusion is the best time you're going to have this awesome system. Very scary, very intimidating off the bat. I just felt like someone was always reminding me there.
It was super creepy and very intense.
You gotta come check it out. It's awesome.
My Lord, I think we should play that again. That's so quick. But you got a little taste of it. You kind of see some of the characters over the years here. So it's very much like living inside of a creepy, hauntingly beautiful story. And we've been doing it since 2011, and there's really not much like it. It's a very intimate experience. We try to make sure that people feel they have some agency and they're a part of the story. Obviously, our trademark player part, we really take that seriously. So I've been just doing this for a long time and get swallowed back into this every year. And we'll kind of dig into this year's show a little bit later.
Well, and since you've been doing it since 2011, and like you said, every year it's a different story, so that's a lot of storylines to come up with. So how would you describe that process of coming up with something new every year, trying to top the last year?
Well, I think if I go into it every year thinking trying to top it, I can set yourself up for disaster. But basically, storylines come in various ways, through gummies, through dreams, through various interactions I'll have with someone on the street. They're all standalone stories, pretty much, so you could go to any one of them. But there's a Delusion universe. We have over, now at this point, probably about 50 characters, 50 original characters. And we've done it since 2011, so there's been 9 stories. And it's pretty expansive at this point. So I think coming up with them, it depends on also the venue. Obviously, a lot of you have been to the shows, you've been to some of these really unique and special venues that we've acquired. Not so much acquired, but rented. We'd love to acquire them. So, but that plays a big part in the telling of the story as well too. For example, the Phillips Mansion, we've been there for the last 3 years. Out in Pomona, and that's a very special place. So I remember the first time I saw it, I would just stand there and just stare at it for a little bit and see what comes my way. You just feel the space and walk around, and to go through a process, it's hard for me to explain it so much, but I explained it with the gummy part. But basically, it's really fun because it's fun and it's frustrating at the same time, to be honest, because obviously we do 10 to 12 people every 10 minutes or so. That's been our format. So it's been difficult to try to tell a compelling story with that kind of format. But we've been able to do it for many years now, and I'm very proud of it. So it's exciting. Most of the time I spend about 2 or 3 days at the venue. I'll sit there and I'll maybe sleep there sometimes and just walk around and feel the space, feel the flow of it as well too. That's most important, to make sure the audience doesn't sort of backtrack into the other groups. So get the flow down. And then the rest of the time I'm in front of my computer in a very crouched, annoying position like this for a couple months. That's where I'm at right now with this current story. So I should probably change my posture here. So anyway, there's a lot more to tell about that, but that's kind of the gist of it.
Okay, and I don't want to pry too much, but so you
Pry.
Okay, I will pry. So last year we saw a culmination of all of the Delusion storylines, right? So can you maybe tell us what era or world that Delusion will be taking us to this year?
Yeah, so this will be interesting. Those of you who went to the show last year, did you see anything at the very end of the show? Any little Easter egg? A book?
A page
Okay.
from a book.
Lots of what?
There's a page
That's okay.
right there.
Somebody said the blood right.
Yes!
Hey, you got one? Somebody said the blood right back there, and there's the book. Okay, so at the end of the story last year, we had the Delusion sort of compendium, toss it into the furnace, burns, and then we're outside, we hear the epilogue kind of wrapping everything up. If you might have missed it, and a lot of people did, I just snuck it in there as a fun thing and see if anybody would notice, but one page lingered outside of the carriage house. There's a window, and it's sort of sticking outside of the window.
I saw it.
So that was called a show from 2012 called The Blood Rite, and that's the era I'm revisiting. I'm bringing back sort of a storyline and some characters from that story, from that show. So that was, if you saw that, then that's kind of the continuation of this, to go back into some of the old stories. But this shows, as I'm writing it, it's becoming a wholly new show with some of the beloved characters from back then. Did anybody actually see that show from 2012?
I missed that one.
Wow, you guys are OG. Come up here, I want to shake your hand. One more time.
And can you reveal maybe the title of this year's Delusion show?
Yes,
Do we-
you're the best storyteller. I want you to say it.
No. You're the best story writer, John.
I'll tell you the title, and then you
Delusion. The Red Castle.
Hey, there it is. Check it out. Delusion, the Red Castle. You can kind of take a moment and read about the storyline from this year. It's a lot about love and sorrow. It's a character named. If those who came to the show in 2012, do you even remember the name of the protagonist? This stuff. Forget it. It's called Dr. Lowell. That's right.
Someone bring that person a prize.
That's right.
Gummy.
Hey, we got a theme going for this panel.
13 quarter team group does not endorse dummies.
Not a guarantee. So, the storyline basically is like he lost his wife. Wow, what a transition. Lost his wife, and like, how far would you go to sort of bring this loved one back, and would they even want to be brought back to this world? So, we're playing into that and having the audience be key players, key patients of Dr. Lowell in this story, and how they're going to help him either bring his wife back or not.
And so at the last 3 years, it was at the Phillips Mansion, right? The last 3 years of the setting. So if it's called the Red Castle, can you tell us where Delusion is going to move to this year?
Yeah, that is actually the venue you're looking at right there.
Wow.
So this, I don't know if anybody's known, I've lived in LA for a long time. I didn't know this place existed, but it's called the Stimson House. And it is, thankfully, in LA proper. It's near USC, near the 110 and the 10 interchange. And it's very close to a lot of people, but it's this really cool clandestine kind of castle that exists right next to a church, so we'll be sure to defy all of that. But it's unreal. I mean, you see it right here. Obviously, if you're standing in front of it, you'll be blown away. So, yeah, the Stimson House near USC, and that is the Red Castle. This was actually owned by an old lumber magnate. I forgot his name exactly, but it's these crimson bricks, and it's got this obviously cool nook, this tower you can see over there as well too. So we're gonna occupy that space and put on quite an unreal show. This thing is turning out to be incredibly fun.
I'm really excited for that. Yeah. It's not exciting, really. And so just one last question, John. So in the past, because you've had different locations, what can you give a little bit about, since now we have this location that you're doing it, what is the experience like what can people expect with the experience when they walk in? to this one?
Well, as you kind of allude to what I talked about earlier about being patients of this psychiatrist, Dr. Frederick Lowell. And again, going back to a question earlier about the era, we're in the late 40s, early 50s kind of era. So he took over this place and made it his sort of, again, clandestine asylum. So we're leaning into the idea of sort of this research, I wouldn't even say facility because it's supposed to be private, as I said, clandestine, it's secret. So you're going to be sort of readmitted into this place that you've existed for a little while, but your memory of it has kind of faded. And so you'll be sort of reintroduced in some interesting way to old characters. So you'll feel as if you're being, I mean, the idea is to feel as if you've gone mad, for sure. So that's the idea, that's the experience. But we're testing this out, and this has always been an interesting part of Delusion in the past. And I've always put a lot of trust into the audience. But for this one, I want to go back to that idea that the audience has these certain abilities to be able to manipulate things. And so you have these dormant abilities in your mind, and the doctor's been kind of working on that for a while to help resurrect his wife. So you're going to feel as if you're a patient. I would suggest everybody goes and rewatches Shutter Island, because that is a big inspiration for this story.
Thank you for all of those little tidbits. I'm very excited about this. And yes, let's give it up to John Wayner and Delusion. We can't wait. So we're going to just transition here from